Well, hey everyone, this is Dr. Shelley Plumb. I'd like to welcome you all back to this segment of From the Hip. I have to tell you, I did something really extraordinary last weekend. I was in Costa Rica. For my anniversary, we did something really special, and I'll tell you what, the culture there really struck me as something amazing. It was very well balanced. It seemed like all of the families there were really a family unit, and there was an emphasis on something that was magnificent. The emphasis was on health and wellness. They knew how to eat properly. They knew how to exercise. They knew how to meditate and keep their mind in balance. It was inspiring. I'm getting chills right now. I came home with really a new outlook on life. So today, I am really excited. We have someone here with us today who is going to talk to us a little bit about health and wellness. We have Joi Cardwell with us, and Joi is the founder of Jump for Joy. So just one second, we will be back with Joi. And we are back. And how are you, Joi?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic. Okay, so you know I love the name of your company, Jump for Joy. So tell our viewers where that came from.
Jump for Joy is something that came from my recording career. I've spent 28 to 32 years, depending on how you count, being a recording artist. And I did a record, and the producer did not want me to put my name out. So I decided when I went solo to put out a record called Jump for Joy so I would get name recognition. But it's a double entendre. Jump for Joy is to express, you know, being happy and doing things that make you feel good. So when it was time to name my wellness center or my program, I felt Jump for Joy would be great because every time you thought about it, you knew it was going to be something that would be positive and uplifting.
You know, the first time I met you and I heard that name, it really does. It instills something very positive in your heart. And I will tell you that just in meeting you the first time.
Thank you.
So Jump for Joy,
yes.
Tell our viewers what are the main foundation, the pillars of your company?
The pillars of Jump for Joy are nutrition,
yes,
mental health, spiritual attachment, or sometimes disengagement, depending on who you are, and yoga. So it's mind, body, and spirit. Basically, we teach people how to eat well, to recognize the foods that are helpful for them and non-helpful, or sometimes have to be eliminated from your diet, ways to prepare foods, and to incorporate that into your body along with the spirit of yoga, which is basically to join. So you're joining all of these aspects together, and we do the physical asana, which is the practice that people see as yoga, which is, you know, the bending, the breathing, etc. And finally, meditation. And the reason why we do meditation is to bring everything together, to give you that space, that peace, and that control over your thought processes so you can actually move forward in life in a way that you are more in control. And especially in this world where there are so many outside factors that control your life on a daily basis.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, you're bombarded sometimes. And it really is there's an art, really, to putting that into perspective so you can continue to function.
Absolutely. You know, we try to start with the mind first, yes, because that is the center of everything. You know, I think, therefore I am. And in our world, we think a little bit too much. So the goal is to be able to not have to turn off your thoughts, but to be able to discern between those thoughts which are unnecessary or are bombarding you and overwhelming you, and be able to accept within sitting quietly those thoughts and not let them overwhelm you.
That's important. That is extremely important. And, you know, I know those really are very important pillars. And what I like about your company in research and talking to you is that you really aim not just for one demographic, you aim to get that into all communities, and even underserved communities. Am I right?
Absolutely. What I found was I had been practicing and had been fortunate enough to travel the world. I lived in Asia, and I've been through many cultural places and understandings that a lot of people, particularly in America, in every demographic, people don't get outside of their comfort zone. And what I wanted to do was to start with children and work with caregivers and adults and go all the way through seniors, because there's not one aspect of our society that cannot be touched by learning to be more in tune with their bodies, their minds, and their spirits. And we are bombarded with these new kids foods that they've created that are marketed to children that are high in sugar and all of these things. And I wanted to start with children because I felt, well, if I can keep the kids calm and get them to be more in tune, then perhaps we can get mom to be a little bit more calm and be more in tune. And then as a family unit, they can work together to create solutions within their own household that works against all the bombardment of social media or social pressures or financial pressures, and just take a break from that.
I think that's important, and I love what you're saying, and what I'm hearing is that your company and your endeavors are really treating society as a whole.
Yes.
Singling out, for example, you just mentioned mothers. I'm a mother. Sometimes crazy busy being bombarded.
Sure.
Just focusing on mothers by themselves, you're really almost doomed to failure because you're not addressing the whole family unit.
Absolutely.
The children, the husbands, the parents that may be involved, that type of thing. So you do address the entire unit.
Yeah, it's super important to really recognize, the old expression, happy wife, happy life. So, if you expand it a little further, you realize that every segment has stresses these days. Used to be when you were a child, you could just go out and play in the street or whatever, and nobody would even look for you. They'd say, just get home in time for dinner and everything will be fine.
When I was growing up, my mom would shut the door and say, okay, be back before the sun's down.
Exactly. I grew up in New York, and the street lights were your indication. As soon as the street lights came on, you needed to be home within 5 minutes of that.
Right.
So yeah, I really thought about it, because initially I started thinking that I would only address moms, or start with moms, because I felt that that was the segment of the population that was really getting hit the hardest and would not have the opportunity to be able to solve these issues, particularly working moms or women who are working very stressful jobs or multiple jobs. And I thought, okay, well, let me just deal with them first because they need it the most.
Sure, yes.
And then serendipity, I just happened to be asked to volunteer for a children's program, and that's when I started to see that children needed help as well. And then, of course, our seniors, people, they're like the unseen, unheard demo. We only hear about them politically usually because they're the most vociferous crowd. They're heard the most when it comes to political activation. But really, when you go into those communities and you look at how many seniors are not moving a lot, they're not getting around, or they're in care situations, or they're alone, and they don't do social events because of financial issues or mobility issues, or they don't know of the programming. It's important to get them engaged as well, because again, as a unit, we learn so much from our seniors. The opportunities for children to work with seniors, seniors to work with adults, and cross-generationally, that's a word.
That is a word. You did that very well, by the way.
To get everybody moving and being peaceful and coming together, especially those who feel that they can't go to the traditional outlets, like say, for instance, yoga. They might not feel that culturally they'll be accepted when they walk in the door because their bodies are not perfect, or it's too expensive, or, you know, they just don't know where to go because
Right.
they don't have the transportation to go or the time. So Jump for Joy was formed so I can either bring these programs to community centers and to areas that have previously been maybe, I wouldn't say ignored, but I think that people, it just didn't occur to them that this population might want to be interested
Right.
in it, or that they would be receptive, or, you know, or that they wanted it.
True, true.
And so, you know, that's the goal. I'm building a center now here in West Palm Beach with the help and, you know, the great vision of the city of West Palm Beach and the revitalization program. So once the center is actually in place, those people will have a place, and I mean those people by those who are not served right now, to come and experience wellness in a way that has nothing to do with anti-aging.
That's
You know,
right.
because that's become the catchphrase. Wellness is really, you know, Botox and all of these other things, whereas I just want to get people back to nature, back to themselves, and to be harmonious with their own being, and I think the joy will spread.
I think the joy will spread. And you actually, before we sat down today, you shared with me what I perceived to be as a real success story with a little boy.
Yes.
And it was meditation.
Yes.
Would you mind sharing that with the viewers? I thought that was such a powerful story.
I would love to. I had a 3-month after-school program that I participated in at the UB Kinsey Community Center here in West Palm Beach. So basically, students from FAU had an after-school program where they would come 3 times a week and give children assistance with homework and mentoring and things like that.
Right.
So I felt as an experiment I would come in and teach the kids meditation. So I had a 6-year-old boy who had some issues with his temper. You know, and he was a little chubby, you know, it's like the typical story, gets teased a lot, could ultimately become a bully, you know, if he was left to his own devices. And he would come in every day kind of quietly, looking sideways, you know, at what we were doing. And at the end of the 3-month program, on our last day, he was ready to charge at one of the older girls who had teased him once again. And he got up, and as I said, he was moving in slow motion. He's like a charger, like a little bull.
Right, sure.
So this time he was moving a little slower than usual, but he had a meditation cushion in his hands, you know, ready to pounce. And I just said to him, "Who's in control of your mind?" And it just stopped him in his tracks because he had been practicing these, you know, last couple of months. And he just looked, he put the pillow down, and he quietly walked back to his seat and just smiled and finished his meditation practice.
You know, that experience must have been validated in your mind, I am doing the right thing. Because if you can get to a little boy like that,
Right.
Can you imagine what type of impact we'll have once everything is rolling in full force?
I wanted to cry.
I bet you did.
My heart just, you know, I just got a lump in my heart, and I was like, I'm doing the right thing. And that's the whole point, you know, to really get someone to stop and think about the consequences. And you can do that after you've been accustomed to sitting quietly.
Right.
It's just, it's so simple, it's so magical, and it's something that people have been practicing for thousands of years, and yet it's not available to everyone. And I just think that that's insane. It should be something that we teach along with brushing your teeth.
Yes.
You know, self-care is the greatest thing you can do for yourself, and if you can teach children this early enough and catch adults
Right.
soon enough, and, you know, and grab adults that are seniors and bring them into the program, it's never too late. And that's really the key, you know, as long as we're living.
Yes.
We can make these small changes that, you know, and the best part about it is that these are things you can do for free. Sitting quietly is something that you can do anywhere at any time.
Right, right.
You
You
know,
can. You can.
We breathe.
We do. We do. And if you, you know, and you're talking, and I'm thinking, how many of the problems that we have in society with, you know, violence and, you know, children acting out, that type of thing, how much of that, in your opinion, could be avoided by daily proper nutrition, daily exercising, daily mindfulness?
Yeah, I think we can make a tremendous difference. You know, I was just watching a documentary on Netflix, and of course, the title has slipped my mind, but it was about the correlation between food and autism. And they had shown that by eating cleaner and getting rid of a lot of the processed foods, the children were behaving better. You know, it used to be, they say, oh, don't give them sugar because you know what's going to happen. You know, they're going to be bouncing off the walls. And this is something we've known and has become part of our culture to say that.
Right.
Yet, we fail to recognize that in the foods that we're giving our children and ourselves, all these processed foods, sugar is one of the ingredients that's in pretty much everything.
Yes.
So, you know, you think about it. Okay, I can just simply take away processed foods and we can measure the amount of sugar that's in our diets.
Yes.
You know, literally.
Right.
And we can take that away, then that will automatically take you down a notch.
Yes.
Then if I teach you meditation, which you can do for 5 minutes or maybe 2 minutes, you know, the time out has been punitive. And I think that's also been the problem. You know, go in the corner, Johnny, or, you know, every time you take a time out, you've been taught that this is a negative thing.
Right.
And now if we can turn that time out into, we're not punishing you, we're giving you an opportunity to get it together.
Yes, yes.
You know, and I think that if you switch that mindset, it also is helpful. And then if you combine that with actually bringing yourself into knowing your body as well, then you can feel your reactive self arising, you know,
right,
as they say. So if you combine the three, you're really doing everything possible to make yourself the best that you can be. And it's all about taking care of yourself first without it being a punishment.
That is true.
And I think that that's really important.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Well, Joy, we're going to take this opportunity to take a break, and we will be back after a word from our sponsor. Microgerm Defense is a green antimicrobial product. It is approved by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and comparable regulatory bodies around the world. It wipes out 99.99% of harmful germs and viruses with its non-stop active protection. The process for application is easy, fast, and safe. For more information, email info@microgermdefense.com or call 1-855-282-3338. Well, we are back. Thank you, Joy, for joining us. This has been so incredible. So for our viewers out there that, you know, they're thinking, well, you know what, after our conversation today, they want to start eating well, they want to start exercising more, or they really want to find out more about meditating. Where would you point them?
I would say to start with simplifying your life. That's the easiest thing to do that is very general.
Can I interrupt you 1 second? In the beginning, I had mentioned Costa Rica, that I was there. Do you know what their major slogan there was? It was Pura Vida.
Pure life?
Pure life.
Yes.
Simple life. And it goes right along with what you're saying.
Yes.
Resonates with me.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I have an aunt who had a heart transplant. And I said, did they give you something, you know, a diet when you left the hospital? And she says, well, yeah, but not really. I said, well, let's put it like this. Let's try to cut down anything that comes in a box, a bag, or a can. So my nutrition advice is if you can cut out one of those things a week or once a month, gradually take yourself out of processed foods. That'll be my nutrition advice. That's the simplest thing I can tell you about that. Drink more water. That's the second thing. And don't believe that juices or juicing is going to solve your life. Because a lot of people think, well, it's fruit or it's, you know, it's greens and it's liquid, it's great for me. Remember, it's still a lot of sugar. And remember when you used to drink juice out of Grandma's house?
Yes.
This is how big the juice glass was.
Juice glasses are small, and they're small for a reason, aren't they?
Precisely. So if you drink juice, this is how much you want.
Okay.
No more than that. As far as your spiritual side or your health mentally, take 5 minutes a day for yourself. Quietly. Outside if you can.
And you mean a true 5 minutes where you're away from everything. Because, you know, I've caught myself, and that's a mistake. I'll take my 5 minutes, but I will take it while the kids are mealing about, and then they're asking me things. So that's not true, 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yes.
And let the children or anyone else in your life know that this is my time. If you have to make a sign and put it on the door that says, this is my time, everyone will know what it is. You know, like the tags that go on the outside of your hotel. Just put it on the door and take the time. And if you have to hide in the bathroom, that's fine. If you can get to go outside, please go outside and just be in nature. Look up at the sky, look at the stars. Take it when you can. 5 minutes. Believe it. It will help you out.
That's incredible.
And I think the third thing in order to get started is to just move your body a little bit. If you're sitting at your desk all day, get up and stretch. Even if you just touch your toes or you do a little overhead bend, little side bends, something like that. Every couple of hours, just get up and move your body. Your boss is not going to kill you, I promise. You know, because if you're a little more relaxed and a little more focused, take yourself away from anything electronic, you can get a little movement in, and if you do it a couple times a day, believe it or not, you'll add up to 5-10 minutes of exercise or stretching that will help you out. But if you want to know more, I'm starting some podcasts that I'll be doing.
Okay.
And I'll be posting on my Facebook page, which is Jump for Joy Wellness, and that's Jumpjoi, Jump for Joy with an I. Wellness, and you can find me there. I'll give some tips, and I'm going to keep moving forward with that. And also, you know, if there's anything you'd like me to post for you, I'd certainly do that as well.
Perfect, perfect. Well, on behalf of the entire Plum Talk team, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. This has been great, and we really resonate with your mission. Such a great mission.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, this has been an incredible show, and that's what we do here at Plum Talk and From the Hip, is we like to provide you with information that will improve your life. And one thing that Joi really said that resonated with me, and we all get that way, don't we? In our daily lives, we're go, 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 and things are coming at us from all angles, is what she said to that little boy is, who's in control of your mind? That is something that I'm going to take away from this show, and I'm going to use to improve my life, and I hope that you will as well. So this has been another edition of From the Hip. This is Dr. Shelley Plumb. Until next time.